Sawadee-kap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. Today is our group learning program, and I'll be guiding you in meditation. And then afterwards, I'm going to open up to any and all questions you guys might have related to the path to enlightenment, any challenges that you're having in your own practice, or anything that you'd like to discuss. You're welcome to ask any and all questions, whether you're in Facebook, YouTube, or in Zoom. The way that we do this meditation session, it's breathing mindfulness meditation today. So I'm going to be starting with some chanting to ease us into the meditation. I'll provide you some guidance. Then we're going to have a period of time where it's just quiet and we're all meditating together. Then we're going to come out of the meditation with some more chanting. And then that's where I'll open up to any and all questions that you might have. So take whatever position's comfortable for you. If you prefer the seated, lying, or standing positions, there is a walking position, but it doesn't usually work out too well with online learning. But if you would like to do that, that's your choice. You're more than welcome to. Again, I'm going to ease us into the meditation with chanting, which you guys are welcome to join in on, and then I'll come back in with the guidance afterwards. So welcome to all of you, whether you're joining for the first time or you're joining regularly. And if you'd like to pull up a meditation cushion or any other device to meditate with, you're more than welcome to. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakawa Bhutang Mahakavanang Apivateyami Savakato Mahakavata Tammo Dhammang namasami Supatipano mahakavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang namami Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo rasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso mahakava arahang samma sambuddho Vicacaranang sammuno Sakatoro kawitu Anutero purisa Dhamma sati satatawa manusanang Bhutto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath, a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathe in gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมหาเขวาพุทธังมหาเขวันหังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตมหาเขวัตตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนมหาเขวัตโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมหาเขวาอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิจาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดัมมาสติสตาตาวามนุสนังโพโตภาควาติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, welcome to all of you guys. Nice to see everyone here today. Welcome to our class. What I typically do in these Wednesdays classes is I just guide you in meditation, then open up to any and all questions that you guys might have. So I'm going to do that here in a moment. But before I do, I'd like to just share with you guys that we're going to be completely restarting the group learning program on the 1st of June. What I'm going to be doing is over a 7-month period, starting June 1st, is I'm going to be gradually walking students through this first book, chapter by chapter, helping you to establish a foundation in the path to enlightenment, this nice framework to be able to understand what it takes to move the mind to this enlightened mental state, where the mind's completely peaceful, calm, serene, and content with joy, where you no longer experience any of those discontent feelings like anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, stress, anxiety, loneliness, boredom, shyness, resentment, jealousy. All of that is eliminated from the mind, including all the other discontent feelings as well. You'll notice that your personal and professional relationships are really blossoming. They're at ease because you're not being bitter and harsh and hostile anymore in your relationships. You can have harmony in all your relationships. You'll notice that you're not even in a bad mood any longer. You'll have focus, concentration, clarity, and deep memory because the mind's performing optimally because you've uprooted the causes and conditions that are producing it to lack concentration and be frustrated and agitated or annoyed or any of these other difficulties and struggles that you're having in day-to-day life. So if you'd like to restart that, it's June 1st, which is a Sunday that we're going to be restarting from the very beginning. This Sunday, the 25th of May, we're kind of having an unofficial start to our group learning program, which is getting to know the teacher, where you guys are able to ask any and all questions that you'd like about my personal life or what I'm doing now, what I've done in the past, what I'll be doing in the future, what were some of the challenges and struggles along the path to enlightenment, anything you'd like to ask. You can ask anything and everything. I'm completely an open book. So you're welcome to attend that this Sunday at 9 a.m. Thai time or 9 p.m. Thai time. We're going to be doing it during both sessions where you guys can just ask any and all questions that you like. Get an opportunity to learn from some of the struggles and difficulties that I had as I was training my mind and as I was going through life. You're welcome to ask anything and everything that you like. So if you'd like to restart this program, you just need to show up for classes or watch the recordings, because we're going to be live streaming it on Facebook, YouTube, and you can join by Zoom. But then you can actually listen to the recordings either on Facebook, YouTube, or in the podcast. You'll be able to go along with the program, because sometimes you'll probably attend live, sometimes you won't be able to. So that's where the recordings come in. And slowly but surely, you can gain the understanding and the wisdom that you need to train your mind and get to this point where the mind's peaceful and joyful permanently. All the learning resources like the books and everything else is available at no cost. You'll find it on our website. If you go to buddhadailywisdom.com, you'll be able to see it from there. And then as you need help throughout the group learning program, you'll be able to ask questions in live classes. You'll be able to post on our Facebook group. You can send me private messages, or you can schedule personal guidance. And all of this is available at no cost. So what I'm going to be doing is just opening up to any and all questions that you guys might have. At this point, you can ask any questions that you like. This particular session, I just open up to any and all questions that you'd like about anything that you'd like to talk about. Maybe your personal challenges, your struggles, anything about the path to enlightenment, anything that you're learning or needing clarity on, you can ask those. If you'd like to put your questions into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom in the comment section, I'll be able to see that and answer your question. Or if you're in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand and ask any and all questions that you like. So I'll just turn things over to you guys to let me know what questions you guys have. Okay, it looks like Leo has questions. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, David. Yes, I just have a situation today because I'm doing the internship in the hospital. And it's actually a situation where I got discontent, and I think I'm going to reflect on this after this lesson. But I think I got discontent about a situation there where one of the, I don't know how you call it, patients or the customers or the people who are sick, right? One of this person were very sick, so he couldn't really do anything. But he could talk a little bit, and he was really unfriendly and racistic, a little bit like a racist to another guy. And we tried to clean this person, and he wasn't really willing to help getting this done. So it took a long time, and I think I wasn't really able to, in this situation, to guard the doorways. And I think it affected the condition of the mind. So the next maybe 2 hours, 2-3 hours, I was discontent, and I wasn't really able to eliminate this discontentedness. So I want to think about this. What can I do in a situation like this when I'm maybe, because in a work environment, in a situation like this, it's difficult that I just move out, right? Because this person needs the help of other people than me. So I can't just walk away, but I could walk away and cut it off with that and like redirect the mind. But in a situation like this, it's maybe not the best to do that. So when it's affecting the condition of the mind, I could maybe go to the toilet and for a few minutes, breathe in, breathe out. I can try to cut it off and cut it off. Is there something else I could do? Maybe is there some things I could reflect on? Maybe a phrase that could help me to bring the mind back to the normal state of mind? Yeah.
So you're understanding what I teach, Leo, because you're describing it, right? That you need to be able to cut this off and let it go. There isn't any kind of magic pill, or there isn't any kind of secret teaching that I haven't taught you yet or anything like that. it's cutting it off and letting it go, because the mind's holding on to something. The mind's wanting something to be a certain way. It's expecting something. It's craving and desiring. And the mind needs to be able to let it go. And right now, you've only been training with these teachings for about a year. So your mind isn't fully able to let go. And even if you've been training for 2 or 3 years, you're still going to have certain discontentedness, right? It took the Buddha 6 years to get to enlightenment. Even when you're in the third stage of enlightenment, which is just before enlightenment, you're going to experience some minor, infrequent discontentedness here and there. It'll be 30 seconds to a minute, maybe spread out over, once every 3 months or something. But even in the third stage, you're still going to experience some discontentedness. You need to be able to understand the Eightfold Path, that you're using your mindfulness, your awareness of mind, to oversee the mind. And whenever you see those bodily sensations, which are the preliminary thing, the early warning system that's happening before the mind becomes discontent, you got to cut that off and let it go. Cut it off and let it go, and get better and better at that. And that's where the meditation and the generosity is helping you to be able to train your mind to be able to notice it sooner and sooner and cut it off and let it go easier and easier. So the things that I teach, if you're in a situation where it's hard to get away, I teach, usually you can excuse yourself to the bathroom. People usually don't, throw a fit or anything like that. They could, right? They could be attached to having you there and they could be really upset, but you need to understand you're not causing that. So one of the best things to do as a way to get some space to yourself where you can distance yourself from the situation is to excuse yourself to the bathroom. And now you just spend a few moments in there, however many minutes that you need. Even if you just go in there and wash your hands or whatever it is, you just say, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be back shortly. And then you just excuse yourself and you just go wash your hands, or you sit in there, you just kind of gain your composure. And now you can go back into the situation. But ultimately, over time, as you're doing this, you're going to be able to get rid of the cravings that are causing this. What you're doing is you're bringing your practice up to the Eightfold Path, and you're living that way for an extended period of time. And you're going to have cravings that get triggered along the way. But see, in the past, before you knew these teachings, you might have been blaming other people for what you were experiencing. And now you never solved any problems because you might have just pushed people away with aversion. You might have been bitter, harsh, and hostile towards them through your intentions, speech, and actions. Or you might have been trying to put your expectations on them and control them. That's the way we did things before you understand the Four Noble Truths. But now, once you understand the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and you bring your practice up to that level, you still have cravings in your mind, and they're still getting triggered, but now you're choosing to do things differently. You're choosing to cut it off and let it go in the moment. You are choosing to step away from a situation, calm your mind. You're training to use meditation and generosity to let go. You're training to be more loving and kind. And slowly but surely, you accumulate all these benefits where it comes together and you start experiencing less and less and less and less discontentedness over a long-term period. So you need to just gradually train the mind. You'll gradually experience improvement as you're practicing these teachings. So it's gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress, understanding you're going to experience some of these situations along your way, and you're understanding what you need to do. The mind just needs to get better at doing it through consistent long-term practice. And this is maturing the mind, accumulating the benefits, and eventually these cravings will release and you'll see more and more improvements in the mind.
Okay, so in these situations when it affected the condition of the mind, I just have to sit it out, right? Because I can go to the toilet, do some breaths, but sometimes it's not helping, right? Or it's helping a little bit, but it's still there somehow. And just sit it out. Is it that? Because for me, actually, at the end, it was fading away, and then it was also finished. So I could go home. At this point, it was gone, right? Because I felt a little bit uncomfortable with the other workers then. Somehow I tried to be normal and talking with them, but it took me effort to act normal and so on. And I feel a little bit uncomfortable with this because I thought maybe people realize that, because maybe my facial expression somehow shows the other people how I really think, or how I really that I'm discontent. I didn't know how I'm perceived by others. it just was a little bit uncomfortable for me. So I think this also kept me in this state. So when it break up, because I went home, right, it was gone somehow. So it would be sitted out, right? Is it that?
Well,
And
you can actively train your mind, right? You can cut off and let go. But the thing is that without a well-developed mind, it's not cut it off and let it go. It's cut it off and cut it off and cut it off and cut it off. It's redirect the mind. And sometimes it takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, what have you, before the mind will finally release that particular attachment and regain its composure. So it's only, I would say, in the second to third stage of enlightenment, where as soon as you notice the discontentedness arising, you can cut it off and let it go right away. Like even in the jhanas and in the first stage of enlightenment, you're going to experience extended periods of time of being discontent, even in the first stage of enlightenment, right? So you may or may not even be in the first stage of enlightenment. So yeah, you're going to experience some periods of discontentedness, but if you know it's impermanent, and you know that the last thing you're interested in doing is generating more unwholesome karma, when you notice that your mind is discontent, you minimize your contact with other people, right? Because you're not interested in speaking because you would like to speak at the proper time. If you're angry and frustrated and agitated, it's not the proper time to talk. So if you can, you try to minimize your contact or even eliminate your contact with other people, go regain your composure, and then, engage back into the activities, whatever it is that you're doing. So you're going to experience some periods of time where your mind's discontent and you're just looking to ensure that your moral conduct isn't such that you're putting out harshness and hostility and bitterness towards others, because then it's just going to come back to you. So if all you can do is just kind of remain quiet, stay to yourself, go isolate yourself or go on a lunch break, if it's around lunchtime, whatever it is, you would just like to minimize any kind of contact, because your intention, speech, and actions are going to be filled with that frustration and agitation. And then over time, these types of situations become less and less frequent. They become less and less intense. Your mind's able to let them go easier and easier. And now you can see this gradual improvement that the mind's making.
Okay. So the hour, I try to cut it off and cut it off again and again, right? Is it also, I could do it like internally all the time, like cut it off, cut it off. Mm-hmm. And if it takes me for an hour or an hour and a half, I do it until it's released, right? I take the effort to cut it off internally, like cut it off. Is it that way?
Yes, exactly. And you can do it that way. You can also just try to redirect the mind into something else, because sometimes just focusing on it so intensely can actually let it continue to linger, right? So like say you're with a patient and you're noticing your frustration arising, and now you can't really do anything, or just say you went away to the bathroom and you came back, but you're still kind of agitated and frustrated. Just handle what you need to handle in as gentle and a calm and peaceful way as possible. You handle it. And then when you're done with handling that patient, you're like, hey, coworkers, hey, friends, I need to go over here and take care of this other thing. I'll be with you guys momentarily. And now you just go maybe for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, you go handle something else. Get your mind involved in something else, completely away from that situation that you just did. This is a way to cut off and let go. It's just redirect the mind, get it involved in something completely different than what you were just doing. And that'll help your mind to more easily let these things go. And you'll get better and better at this over time. Like I said, eventually you'll get to the point where you're noticing it arising while you're working with the patient, and you can actually cut it off and let it go while you're working with the patient. And you don't need to go anywhere at all because you've internally cut off and let go. But that requires more training and more development of the mind. And you're just not there yet because you've only been training with me with these particular teachings for like a year.
Right. Then I also, because you said better not to talk because the speech could be harmful and so on. Mm-hmm. I have the observation that if I get discontent often, I'm still able to talk in a kind, polite way, that I'm not harsh and so on. I sometimes think that other people could think that I seem to be a little bit stressed or maybe feel uncomfortable. Maybe that they can see that, but it's not that I put harshness out. Yeah.
If people,
maybe I'm not really clear on the mind, and then maybe in some situations it would be better not to talk because this people is maybe doing some other stuff, or and I interrupt them. Maybe this could happen because I'm somehow shaken up, right? More. Yeah.
If people perceive you as being stressed or whatever, that's their perception. You can't change or control what other people choose to do, right? People are going to look at you and form all kinds of opinions, some favorable, some unfavorable. You can't control that. That is just impermanence. All you can do is do what you know to be wise. If other people form opinions, either favorable or unfavorable, that's up to them, right? That's what's going on in their own mind. Oftentimes when people don't like us, we think that it's coming from us, and we might feel guilty or shameful, or we've done something wrong. But when someone dislikes you or they're judging you in any way, that's coming from their own mind. And you need to understand that, because if they don't have all these expectations of what they want you to do, well, then they could love you and like you regardless. Like when someone dislikes another person, that's because they're not meeting their expectations. That person in their mind has certain expectations. And if you meet my expectations, I like you. But if you don't meet my expectations, I don't like you. And people's expectations are constantly changing. So it's only a matter of time, if you're around someone like that, that they're going to find something about you that they dislike. And now they're going to think that they don't like you, and they might even hate you. And they think it's coming from you, when in reality, it's coming from their own mind. And this is why sometimes people try to step into your life and try to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, because they have expectations of you. So you need to be very clear and get rid of any personal existence view that if other people perceive you in a certain way, that's their choice. You can't control that. All you can do is control your own mind. And you even have challenges with that, right? That's what you're working on getting better at, is actually, controlling your own mind. So you can't control other people if you can't even control your own mind. It's not possible, right? But just understand that you're doing the best you can. You're a work in progress. And if other people look down on you and hate you for the things that you're doing, that's a reflection of what's going on in their mind, not your mind. Because people who love you unconditionally, they're not going to have all these expectations of you, right? They're not going to be trying to knock you down and things like this. They're going to just love you as you are, realizing that you're an imperfect being and you're a work in progress, and they're not trying to control you or force you to be any particular way. And that's the interesting thing about when people are judging others. They themselves are not perfect, but yet they're holding others up to this standard of thinking that everyone else should be perfect, even though they themselves are not perfect. So don't worry about what other people think. You're going to have people all throughout your life. Even if you get to enlightenment someday, you will have people that hate you. Even when you're enlightened, you will have people that will gossip and slander and spread rumors about you, even when you're enlightened, because this is the impermanent nature of the world. And that's a reflection of what's going on in their mind, not in your mind.
Yeah, thank you for that information.
All right.
I would also like to ask, I would like to have a little bit clarification about apologizing. When is it the best to apologize? Of course, if I did something, maybe I did accidentally harmed someone or so on, right? I apologize. But if I haven't done anything wrong, so to speak, then maybe not. I don't know if I should apologize in these situations, because if I apologize in situations where I haven't done anything unwise, it seems like they could perceive that I'm apologizing because I did something unwise, right? So sometimes, for example, if you sneeze, you say, "Oh, sorry," or you say, "I think you apologize when you do this."
Say again. I didn't hear.
Yeah. If you sometimes sneezing,
okay,
realize that you're apologizing, for example, but you haven't done anything wrong, right? You haven't harmed anyone. So yeah, I'm just a little bit thinking about when is it the right, like in some situations, maybe it's just nice to apologize because society is expecting this, and you just do it because not to do more problems. Or I don't know.
Okay.
You have some words on that?
Yeah. So when your decisions are impacting other people, those are things that you would like to apologize for, right? If someone expects you to apologize, that's not necessarily the best time to apologize. And if you haven't truly done anything that's unwise, it's not wise to apologize. So, for example, if someone's like, Leo, you're making me angry. If you were to like to say, oh, I'm so sorry, right? You're acknowledging that you are making them angry, which isn't actually true. Instead, what you could say in a situation like that is you could say, it's unfortunate that you're experiencing those feelings. I understand. You can say things like that to show them that you understand their feelings instead of apologizing for their feelings, because you're not the one causing their feelings. But if you've impacted people, it's wise to apologize, right? So like say like you have an appointment with somebody and now you're showing up late and you showed up 5, 10, 15 minutes late. You haven't truly done anything harmful. You haven't harmed their material possessions, their physical body. You haven't harmed their reputation. You haven't actually caused them any harm, but you have impacted them, right? Because now they're sitting there for 5, 10, 15 minutes at this restaurant waiting for you and you showed up late, even if it was traffic, right? And you had no control over this whatsoever. It's just impermanent. That's all it is. You can apologize. You can say, oh, I'm so sorry that I'm late. I apologize, but I was getting here as close to as on time as possible. Thank you for waiting. I really appreciate you being understanding, because they could be angry sitting there, right? And they think that you're causing this anger, but you're not apologizing for the anger. You're just apologizing for this impermanence that you experienced, right? So anytime you've impacted others in any way, it's wise to apologize, but you're not impacting them by causing their anger, because that would promote wrong view. And if you constantly apologize for the feelings that people are having around you, they're going to keep thinking you're the one who's causing those feelings. And you're going to find yourself constantly being blamed for other people's feelings. So it's unwise to apologize for other people's feelings. But if you've impacted them, especially if you've caused harm to their material possessions, their physical body, their reputation, things like this, these are either intentional or unintentional. You can apologize for those kinds of things, and it would be wise to do so.
Also, if I sneeze.
If you sneeze, sometimes like when I'm teaching class and I'm getting ready to sneeze, I will say, I'm sorry. Or if I sneeze, I will say, I'm sorry. What I'm apologizing for is I'm apologizing for the impermanence that they're experiencing. Of course, I didn't have any control over that. If they're experiencing any feelings because of it, that's on them. But at least I'm just saying, hey, I apologize, because I know that people are working to listen and be focused and concentrated to what it is that I'm saying. And when I kind of pause mid-sentence for like 4 seconds, like, and then I have to sneeze, it's like I'm apologizing the fact that they put in all this effort to focus and concentrate and hear the sneezes coming on. And I am honoring and respecting their attention that they're giving to the class by saying, I apologize, I'm sorry about that, right? But of course, I didn't have any control over that. And I haven't harmed this individual, but I have impacted them. And again, it was out of my control. It's just like the traffic, right? The traffic wasn't something I created. The sneeze wasn't something I've created. I'm just apologizing that they are putting in this effort, and then now I'm sneezing, and now right back into whatever it is that I'm teaching. And we're just moving on from that point forward. And this is a polite way to interact with people.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, thank you. I would have 2 more questions, but I could also wait if someone else can go ask.
Yeah, let me see if there's any questions anywhere else throughout our live stream. It looks like Fiona has a question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Oh, hello, David. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to ask, does an enlightened being feel joyful when they wake up in the morning? And the reason I'm asking, because when I wake up, I've noticed that my mind's not sad or happy. It's a bit flat. Mm-hmm. And I do put in right effort to investigate the teachings, but I'm not feeling joyful. And I'm wondering whether I need to get rid of more pollutions, and then that will happen further down the path.
Yes, that's true. An enlightened being will, when they wake up, they're already joyful. Their mind is already uplifted, bright, and radiant. And that is something that will come as there's less and less pollution in the mind. But let me explain this, because you might be experiencing what I'm about to describe, is that, when we're off the path to enlightenment, and even when we're first getting onto the path to enlightenment, we get happy and excited based on some condition. Something happens, boss gives us a raise, mom's coming to visit, friend visiting with friends, you go to a favorite restaurant, you get so happy and excited, right? And then when those things aren't happening, you feel sad or angry or frustrated. Well, when you start practicing these teachings and you get to a certain period of time, I've seen some people experience this within 3 to 6 months, depending on where they are. I've seen some people take a year or two before they experience this. But as you're starting to let go of your cravings, desires, attachments, and you're no longer getting those conditioned, pleasant feelings of excitement and happy that are conditioned, you go through this transitionary period where you feel a bit flat. You feel a bit dull and mundane. It's just like, ugh, feel like blah, right? Because you're no longer getting those conditioned, pleasant feelings anymore, because your mind's peeling away the cravings, desires, attachments. So you're not getting that happy, excited that you used to always get. Now you just kind of feel blah, but you're not getting that joy yet either. You're not getting that unconditioned joy. Your mind's kind of like in the middle, right? And not like truly in the middle the way the Buddha taught to be in the middle, but you're between these two periods. Getting to the joy, that's where your mind's actually in the middle. Your mind's not yet quite in the middle, but you're in the middle of this process where you're letting go of cravings. You feel this transitionary period that you can just feel kind of blase for quite a while. It can happen and it can come and go where you experience this for elongated periods of time. But as you let go of the attachment fully, whatever those attachments are, that's where the mind brightens up. And now you won't experience that blase anymore. But you will go through periods of time. You can go through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of feeling dull and but then that particular attachment will let go fully. And now the mind is bright and uplifted, and you can experience that for several weeks. But then as you're letting go of another attachment, you can feel that blah again, that dullness. But then when you let that one go fully, then the mind will brighten up in that situation too. So that might be what you're experiencing, is that you're letting go enough of these attachments that your mind's not getting what it wants, which is those conditioned pleasant feelings. It's not getting those attachments, but it's not yet to the joy yet because the mind hasn't fully let go. So as you more fully let go, the mind will brighten up for you more.
Oh, thank you. It's really helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let me see if we have anything else anywhere. Okay, looks like Chrissy has some questions or a question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, my question is related to Leo's question a bit about causing harm to other people by hurting their feelings. It is understood that you can't hurt someone else's feelings, that their feelings are hurt due to their craving. However, there's some confusion there, because I feel if you were to hurt my feelings, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying. It is causing harm. It may not be causing, it can cause physical harm. For example, I'm going to try really hard not to be argumentative. When you laughed at me, when the thought of getting to one of the jhanas or enlightenment, I stopped practicing. I gave up. I thought I must not be good enough. I must never be able to get to that point. That's my feelings that were hurt because of my craving. However, I feel that if someone is practicing true love and kindness, they should still apologize for that when they hurt someone's feelings.
Your mind's...
I might be wrong.
Sorry.
I might be wrong, but it does still cause harm. And I know my mind isn't where you think it should be, or where enlightenment or this perfectness that people speak of. But if people cause harm by something they do or say to someone else, they should apologize.
Okay, so your mind's conflicted here. On one side, you're saying that you understand that people cause their own feelings, their own emotions, but yet you're saying this person, what they said or did, has caused this person to feel a certain thing and they should apologize for that. Your mind's not seeing clearly that it's not possible for others to cause any feelings for someone else. So if someone laughs, and I don't remember you ever saying that, talking about the jhanas or getting to the first stage of enlightenment and me laughing. I don't ever recall anything like that. But if you say that this has occurred, if someone laughs in that situation and you get upset or angry or frustrated or any other feeling, that's coming from your own mind. So there's no need to apologize to another person for their feelings. That person is feeling that anger or frustration or annoyance or whatever it is based on their own craving. And this is most likely from personal existence view, the mind wanting others to perceive you in a certain way. And when you're not being perceived that way, then the mind gets angry or frustrated. So it's not something that another person has caused. So there's no need to apologize for someone else's feelings because you haven't caused those feelings. Now, if somebody did cause harm, meaning you've caused harm to someone's material possessions, to their physical body, or to their reputation, this is actual harm that you can cause. Through our bodily actions or through our speech, we can actually cause harm to others in that way. But having a certain feeling that another person is experiencing, another person hasn't caused that feeling. So there's no need to apologize for that because you haven't actually caused it.
In my opinion, a person's feelings is more important than someone's reputation and their desire to get to a person's, to get to a peaceful place. Especially if this is someone that looked up to you. I don't know.
It's not.
I feel like apologizing is a way of showing love and kindness.
Okay, so that's what you're currently thinking. And if you choose to operate that way, that's the way you choose to operate. As I mentioned to Leo, if you go around apologizing to people for the feelings that they're experiencing, you're just going to be stuck in a situation where people are going to be constantly blaming you for their feelings when you're not causing their feelings. So it's not about what's more important. It's not about your feelings are more important than your material possessions, your physical body, or your reputation. It's not about what's more important. It's about just seeing true reality of what's truly occurring. Is that if, let's just say somebody's house burnt down and now you apologize for that. You didn't burn their house down. There's no need for you to apologize for that. Even saying, I'm sorry that that happened to you, right? You didn't cause this thing, right? So you wouldn't apologize for something. Maybe you would, but I wouldn't apologize for something that I didn't do. I didn't burn this person's house down, so there's no need for me to apologize to them for that. I can say it's unfortunate that you had to experience this, right? I can say those kinds of things because I care about this person. It's unfortunate that they're having to experience this, but any feelings that they're experiencing because of their house burning down, I didn't cause that, right? And nobody else did. It's their own mind that's causing that. So you thinking about what's more important or less important or something like that, that's not what I'm describing here. I'm just describing what is true reality, what's actually occurring. And if you go around apologizing to people for the feelings that they're having, you're going to be in situations where people are constantly blaming you for their feelings. And what the mind's going to tend to do, which is what your mind has done here, it sounds like, is that when you experience those painful feelings, you've attributed that to me. And what the mind's going to typically do is push away the person or the situation. That's called aversion. The second thing, which you haven't done, which is be bitter and harsh and hostile towards someone through your intentions, speech, and actions. Or the third thing is someone will put their expectations on another person and try to control that person. So there might be some expectations there that you're expecting me to now apologize for the feelings that you experienced. And that's
Can I
not,
say something?
hold on. That's not going to get you to peace, and that's not going to get you to joy. You're going to need to get rid of the expectation of wanting other people to be a certain way. Because what the mind's ego is going to do is the mind's ego is going to think, I know what's right. Other people are doing things wrongly, and I need to put expectations on them and control them and get them to do things my way. Where that's not going to lead to your peacefulness, because you can't train 8 billion people to do things your way. So you're going to need to let go of these expectations of wanting other people to be a certain way, realizing that your feelings are being caused by your own mind. Let go of the cravings, desires, attachments that are causing those feelings, and now you won't experience those feelings any longer.
So if I was practicing aversion, why would I be in this class?
Well, you just said that you decided to go away from the teachings and from learning with me. That's what
For a while I did, because that's what you teach, to practice that cause, right? But now I'm seeing a little clearly.
Okay, good.
Because you're telling me what I'm doing, and some of the things are not even what I'm doing, and I'm able to see that now.
Good.
So there was 3 things that you said I was doing that I wasn't doing.
No, I didn't say you weren't doing that. You were doing those things. I said what
you said I was practicing aversion.
No. Let me just restate what I shared so you can hear it. I said what the unenlightened mind typically does when it's experiencing painful feelings is it will attribute those.
That sounds more clear. The unenlightened mind, but that's not what you said the first time.
I said you. This is what you're doing this, right? So your mind experiences.
But that isn't what I'm doing.
If you're going to get to understanding, you're going to need to listen and understand. I can't help you if you talk over me or you interrupt me.
Thanks.
Would you like to know what I have to share, or you're not interested?
Nope, I'm not interested. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, Leo, you would like to ask some more questions?
Yeah, I just had 2 small questions. I just wanted to ask. Sometimes you say that because of something there will be unwholesome results. Is unwholesome results the same as unwholesome karma in this statement? Is it the same?
Yeah, I use unwholesome results because it helps people to understand that unwholesome karma, because what karma is the results of your decisions. Whatever decisions you make, either wise or unwise, it's going to produce wholesome karma or unwholesome karma, or we could call it unwholesome results or wholesome results. But it's important to understand that when you're experiencing certain things, what people attribute to being wholesome and unwholesome in certain results, they don't always see it 100% true. So for example, no matter how enlightened you are, you will still experience sickness, aging, death, loss, and destruction. It's impossible for you to not experience these 5 things: is sickness, aging, death, loss, and destruction, right? So for example, when I got into a motorbike accident a few months ago, there was a student or 2 that said, "Hey, David, isn't this unwholesome karma?" Well, a motorbike accident, for example, it can be unwholesome karma or unwholesome results. Let's just say you're like talking on your phone, you're not paying attention, maybe you're listening to music, and then wham, you get into an accident, and now this is unwholesome karma from not being focused and concentrated, through making the unwise decision to not pay attention to your driving. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep that night. There were certain decisions that you made that led to this situation, and it resulted in bodily sickness, and it resulted in loss and destruction, right? So this is unwholesome karma in this example. But you can also have that same exact situation occur, and it's not unwholesome karma. It is the results of decisions, but it's not unwholesome karma. And here's the example. Like, for example, when I got in the motorbike accident, I was on a brand new motorbike. I'd only had it for 5 days. It had a higher center of gravity than what I was used to. It was a brand new bike, so they had the tires pumped up really high. I was coming around the turn. I had some centrifugal force. There was some water on the ground, and and it was on a crosswalk. Where here in Thailand, their crosswalks have like this plastic material on it, rather than just being like asphalt, painted asphalt. There's like this plasticky material. So when I was coming around the corner, higher center of gravity, tires pumped up really high, centrifugal force, water on the ground. Well, wham! I got into a motorbike accident. I was experiencing sickness. Right, the body was ill for a period of time, and I experienced loss and destruction. And this is something that you can't avoid. No matter how awake an individual's mind may be, it's not possible for you to avoid that. So there is sickness and illness that is unwholesome karma. Like, for example, if I smoked cigarettes and my lungs became, unhealthy and I had lung cancer, this is unwholesome karma, that is sickness as a result of decisions that I'm making. But you can also have a certain sickness like that isn't a result of smoking or something like that, right? So you need to be able to look at a certain situation within your own life and look at what are the decisions that I made that led up to this situation, and where is it in this sequence of events that I can improve my decision making in order to make it better, so that now I can experience improved results. And now that is going to help you to cultivate wisdom, make better decisions, and now you'll experience wholesome karma. But you'll still experience sickness, aging, death, loss, and destruction no matter what. You're going to experience these kinds of things.
Okay. For example, if I would play a video game, if I do it out of craving, there will be unwholesome results, because every little craving is causing, or because of every craving, there will be unwholesome results, right?
If you're, let me answer your question. If you're playing the video game with craving, desire, attachment, yes, there's going to be unwholesome results as part of that. Like, for example, you're craving to win in this video game and then you lose, you'll be frustrated, agitated, annoyed. That's part of your own unwholesome results based in your craving. Now, let's just say you're craving so much, you get so angry, you take your phone or you take the controller and you throw it around the room and it breaks, right? And now you got to go buy a new one. And this is your unwholesome karma too, based in your craving. But you can also play that video game without craving, desire, attachment too. So it's not the video game itself, because you could play that video game, you lost. Oh, well, congratulations, friend. You just won this game. Congratulations to you. You're not upset. You're not angry. You're not frustrated. So it's always important to see that the craving, desire, attachment is within the own mind. It's not the object itself. It's the way that the mind is longing, yearning. That's what the craving, desire, attachment is. So yes, if you do anything with craving, desire, attachment, it's going to produce unwholesome results for you. And you need to be able to see that. But just remember, everything that happens in your life isn't necessarily from unwise decisions, like the motorbike accident that I shared. I know that there was nothing different there that I could have done. Looking back on it, yeah, I could have had less air in the tires. I could have gone around the turn maybe a little bit slower, even though I was going fairly slow. I could have had a car, but I didn't have the money to afford to buy a car. These are things that I could have done, but you can't see those things. And it's not that they were unwise decisions. They were just decisions that were made, right? They weren't unwise in this situation. It wasn't that I was causing harm to anybody. I wasn't operating through craving, anger, and ignorance in this situation. It was just a sequence of events that occurred. So you need to be able to look at each situation that you're experiencing and try to decipher what were the decisions that I made that contributed to this. And what I always teach is I say, if there's anything that's happening in your life that you don't particularly care for, just cultivate wisdom, make different decisions, and you will experience different results. So for me, in my situation, I was like, this is the 6th motorbike accident that I've had in 23 years of riding motorbikes here in Thailand. I'm getting older. This body is not healing as quickly. why don't I see if I can figure out a way to get a car? And the students were willing to help me to do that. And that's where one second. Okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I didn't have the whole security thing set up for people not to do that. Okay, so what you need to be able to do is look at your decisions and see if there's decisions you can make that are different that can improve what you're experiencing. And that's what will ultimately lead to improvement in any aspect of your life. Okay, Leo, if you'd like to unmute, you're welcome to do that and ask some more questions.
Yeah, thank you, David. Okay, just about the playing the video game out of craving and getting frustrated because maybe I lose.
Mm-hmm.
This is the unwholesome karma. Is it understanding correctly? Because the unwholesome karma would be that, I affected my mind, right? I got angry, and that is the opposite of loving kindness. So I developed, or I nourished this ill will, right, in my mind. So that is the unwholesome karma. Is that correct? Unwholesome result.
Yes. So if you're getting angry, if you're getting frustrated, that's part of your unwholesome karma, because your mind still has craving, and because you're operating through that craving, you will experience painful feelings as a result.
Okay, perfect. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then a small question, the last one. I think I know the answer, but if you say, because the enlightened being would love all beings the same, right? So he would love a mosquito the same as a human being. So correct, right? But I think that if you need to decide if you have a human being or an animal in a situation, maybe you would decide to have the human being, because the human being can develop the mind to enlightenment. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I would choose to do if there were two beings drowning and I could only save one of them. I would save the human being in this example, because I know that individual has the ability to get to enlightenment and escape the cycle of rebirth. No matter what, this animal is going to need to be reborn, and it's unfortunate that it's dying through drowning, for example. But if I could only save one, I would save the human being, and not because it's more important or I love it more, but because it has this opportunity to escape this whole cycle of rebirth, and allowing this human life to go to waste, it would be unfortunate. So that's why I would look to the human being to be able to save them. But yes, you would like to get to the point where you have love for all beings. You love them unconditionally. That, even this person who just broke into our Zoom, even the person who got angry and decided to leave, I love all these beings and I'm willing to help them, but I can only help someone if they choose to listen and ask questions and understand. I can't help somebody when they're angry and frustrated. It's just not, it's not possible to help that individual. So you would like to love all beings and, do that unconditionally. And at any point in time, you're willing to have this genuine interest in seeing them be well. Your mind is having this unconditioned love, but whether you choose to put any actions behind it is another particular decision, because you can't always put actions behind it. Each situation is different.
Okay, so every being has the same value. Also a mosquito and the human being, they have the same value, right?
Exactly. They're equal in terms of the mind should look at all beings as being equal, because when you start having this pecking order, that's the conceit in the mind, and you're not interested in allowing the mind to have that conceit.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. By the way, I opened up the video and stuff, so if you guys are interested in turning on your video, you're more than welcome to. I opened that up so you're able to now do that if you'd like. All right. So it looks like Yihang, you have a question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, Teacher David. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And my question is a little bit related to before the ma'am, Mrs. Fiona. Well, during that block period that you just mentioned, that you didn't get that unconditional joy yet, but also don't get all these conditioned joy. Does this mind necessarily knows exactly what cravings that's still holding on, even though it's like very deep down or something very hidden in the mind? Or you would say, as long as the mind is practicing and slowly, then the mind will just get rid of these craving without even knowing specifically?
Sometimes you will know what the cravings are, and other times you won't. You can almost have this like low level hum. I don't know if you're experiencing this, but there are times where you might just feel like this this kind of low level discontentedness that it's not really attributed. You can't figure out exactly what it is. It's not attributed to anything specific. You just feel like this kind of like dullness in the mind, and you don't necessarily know. I mean, you can look inward, and that's what you would like to develop, more and more introspection, to be able to identify what are these attachments, because if you can identify it, then you can more skillfully work with it to eliminate it. But in some situations, you're not going to know what it is, and that's where you need to have this determination, this dedication, this diligence, this confidence in the teachings of the Buddha, this confidence in the Eightfold Path, that if you just stick with it and you stick to it, you know that this dullness is impermanent. It's going to go away. You just need to stick with the consistent training of the breathing mindfulness meditation, the generosity, cutting off and letting go anytime you notice discontentedness arising, and eventually all these attachments will eliminate. But you will be able to identify many of your attachments, and like I mentioned, that's where you can more skillfully work with them to eliminate them. But in some situations, you're not going to be able to figure it out 100%. You can always come talk with me, and I can maybe ask you a few questions to help you uncover it. But in some situations, you just can't find it. But if you stay committed to the entire Eightfold Path and keep practicing it the way that the Buddha teaches it, your mind will release that attachment. It's only a matter of time.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions that you guys would like to ask? Remember, in Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you can put those in the comment section, or in Zoom, you can electronically raise your hand and ask any questions that you like. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions anywhere. So what I'll do then is just end class by thanking all of you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest in learning and growing and developing on the path. As you have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out. I'm here to help you guys. So you can do that through live classes, through posting in our Facebook group, sending a private message, or scheduling personal guidance. I'm always willing to help you guys if you would like to reach out and get some help. Our next class is on Sunday. In this group learning program. And that's where I'm going to be doing Getting to Know the Teacher, where you guys can ask any and all questions that you like. And I'll be able to answer those for you. If you'd like to ask any and all questions, I'm going to be just a completely open book like I always am, and answer any and all questions either about my life or anything that you guys would like to ask. You can ask those on Sunday. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing loving kindness meditation and opening up to all the questions. And then that's where we're ultimately going to be restarting the group learning program from the very beginning. And what I'm going to be doing on Wednesdays is there's going to be a 4-part series on breathing mindfulness meditation, a 4-part series on loving kindness meditation spread out over 2 months. So you'll see how I restart the group learning program doing it that way. And then remember, there's always the Saturday Pali Canon and English study group classes that you're always welcome to attend those as well. So whatever you decide to do today, have a very wonderful and lovely rest of your day. Take care and be well. Sawadee ka. Thank you again for watching. Enjoy your meditation. Look forward to seeing you online and answering any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.